Once again, for those of you who are attending this debate and didn't attend the other debates, a series of questions will be picked randomly by a volunteer that I will pick from the audience. Each candidate will receive a different question. So I'm going to go out and pick my volunteer now. Notice how we said these were volunteers, but I dragged them up here. Young lady, what's your name? Dawn. All right. So Dawn will hand you the questions. We have an order once again that was picked. Before we start the debate, I will rotate that order as we go through the questions. And may I have the first question? This first question is for Mr. J. Rubens. And the question is this. Do you believe the size of our federal government is too big, too small, or just right? Does it need to be changed? And if so, how?
That's a one-word answer, but yes, obviously, it's way too big. We have a government that's spending $1 out of every $5 being spent from our federal government today is printed money. We are at end-stage fiscal insanity. We've got to deal with it. Congress, Republicans, and Democrats have kicked the can down the road for 30 years now. 10,000 baby boomers today are retiring. We've got to fix the problem. We've got a raising control board. Okay? The Pentagon has got 230 golf courses. We've got 70 plus different job training programs run under 4 different cabinet level agencies, a tenth of which have ever been tested for effectiveness. The federal government can be downsized, and we can do a better job, and we can fit within the tax structure, the taxes we now pay, and no more taxes. We can do this. We have to do it. But again, I'm going to remind you what I said at the beginning. This stuff will not happen until we unleash people who are not going to Washington for a career, but who are going down there to fix problems, and are not going to be going down there to get reelected. And it means they've got to break ranks with the corporate cronies and the special interests that are funding the millions of dollars in these campaigns. We're going to get to this question. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rubin. The next question in order will go to Mr. Smith. Mr. Smith, your question is this. Do you believe that there is corruption in our federal government? And if so, how would you deal with it?
Oh my God, yes. So we start with VA. That's certainly a disgrace. What happened there, that the illegal aliens can come to this country, can get all the benefits they need, want, never. Seems like they need to get sent here for nothing, at government expense, that is, and yet we don't have enough money to take care of our veterans. So we had a huge scandal in the NSA, spying on our citizens. We had a scandal with the Benghazi attack, which has yet been answered. Be different, I think, for the Republican administration. We'd probably be looking to impeach the president right now. Some people would like to do that, but by the time we get it done, we'll be out of office, I hope. So, look, we could go on and on. The part that bothers you is the people who are put in these positions of authority, appointed or elected, still, when they violate that sacred trust, that sacred bond between the voters and them. That's a serious matter. And I hear it everywhere. People are saying, I don't trust my government anymore. I don't trust the people who run for office anymore. And that's it. And it's got to change. And the only way we're going to do it is let the right people throw these people out that are doing this to us, and let's start over and do it right with the Constitution as our guidance.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. This next question is for Mr. Brown. Mr. Brown, what is your position on Common Core curriculum?
That's easy. I'm against it. I believe that these issues can be best solved at the parental school board level, at the local level. And that's it.
Next, we'll start our second round of this series of questions. The first person to answer this will be Mr. Smith. Mr. Smith, how can the U.S. achieve energy independence Please address the issue of government subsidies and regulations in your response.
No subsidies, let the private sector do it, they know how to do it best. Take the regulations off, spur the economy on, produce the energy, start with bringing in the Keystone Pipeline, which even the EPA doesn't really disapprove of. It seems to be only Obama. Why? I have no idea. It creates hundreds of thousands of jobs through not the pipeline, but that's the beginning process of getting more and more energy produced in this country. We have it. We have it everywhere. All we need to do is to get the private sector to get access to the oil and the resources that we have, coal, hundreds of years of coal, oil, natural resources, but you can't keep it tied up. You can't refuse to let the private sector get at this energy if we're going to continue, if we're ever going to be energy independent and get off of the foreign oil, which is causing us to get dragged into foreign wars that we shouldn't be in. So I would deregulate. I would let the private sector get involved. They know how to do it. They know how to produce the energy. And frankly, it's a national security issue as well as an energy issue. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Next question. Ladies and gentlemen, again, members of the audience that would ask you to refrain from applying during the actual question part. You will have a chance to apply during the actual closing remarks. This next question is for candidate Mr. Scott Brown. Once again, would you, Mr. Scott Brown, would you support the idea of personal privacy for U.S. citizens and prevent government surveillance?
Well, what you're referring to is the NSA. What started out as a credible program is now turned freaky. You have a situation where we want to make sure that the best liberty that I know is the right to stay alive and not be killed by people who want to try to kill us, coming into our country or taking us abroad and killing us. So we have
Patriot Act. And if you believe in the Constitution, as I do, the Fourth Amendment protects individuals from searching and seizing their individual rights.
On the question?
Yeah, I did.
So it's a constitutional question. Yes, I'm the only Republican in the United States Senate, entire country, 107, that acknowledges openly that human beings are causing climate change. What I believe is the reason that I can do that, I can be independent in my thinking. I know that people don't agree with me across the board because I don't take special interest money, okay? Now, what am I going to do about this problem? I have proposed to eliminate all energy subsidies. The reason I know that, I invest in startup companies. I know that the federal government picks winners and losers by subsidizing with nuclear subsidies, solar, wind, corn, ethanol, oil. When they do that, they retard the development of technology. They freeze technology development 1 and 2 generations behind where it should be. Unleash the phenomenal power-free enterprise we have in this country. The brilliant entrepreneurs, their ability to amass billions of dollars, and they will accelerate us toward having cheap batteries, cheap solar PV, and we're going to have $20 barrel oil equipment, which we need to turn our economy around. We need cheap, inexpensive, abundant, and clean energy to power America, the entire nation of America, the entire free world, so that we're not going oil. Northern Europe is not going natural gas from Russia, and America is not going oil from OPEC anymore. Get us out of $100 barrel oil, fix our economy. That's my answer.
Thank you very much. Please take the floor. The next set of questions, we'll start with Mr. Brown. In light of the recent bill to enable the VA to fire employees, should Congress expand the same policy to all federal agencies?
So when's the last time you heard about putting the veterans first? I mean, it's all about unions and contracts and everything but putting the veterans first, and then they passed the bill. And now they're all taking vows. But long it took the veterans dying for them to actually get off their reins and do something. And in fact, the bill has not even been implemented. As you know, I retired from the military, 35 years as a colonel, served the last 4 at the Pentagon. On the Veterans Committee, held hearings on that very issue. I feel very strongly, put them on notice, gave them a plan. I've been gone for almost 2 years, and during that time, it fell apart. During the time I was there, we held hearings. We put soldiers in touch with the VA. So absolutely, you need to give the flexibility for our administrators to do their jobs. It's outrageous that people would die as a result. The bureaucracy in Washington, Bob and I can both tell you, it's unbelievable. They don't talk, they don't work together. There's a complete breakdown, and a lot of it starts at the bureaucratic level. we need to give those in charge, first of all, put qualified people in charge that respect our rights and freedoms, and then make sure that they have the tools and resources to actually do their jobs, to draw that line in the sand, to fire somebody. The fact that these people right now at the VA are on leave with pay is abhorrent. So I want to make sure that we can go down there and do more, not only for our veterans, but do that top-to-bottom review of every federal program, streamline it, consolidate it, make it more efficient. That's what we need to do.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. This next question is for Mr. Rubens, and we'll get to Mr. Smith. Mr. Rubens, how would you work with the Republican Party to enhance unity?
Our party is not going to become unified if we try to kick out different parts of our party. There are the establishment Republicans, I'm not one of them, would like to take certain parts of our party, conservatives, we have conservatives in our party, we have Tea Party people in our party, we have moderates in our party, we have liberty Republicans in our party, we have independents that in droves have left our party. We're going to bring our party together again by bringing bold solutions to Washington to solve the problems of America, solutions that make sense. I've got a whole host of them on my website, theRubens.com. I'm proposing shutting down the Department of Education and block granting that money back to the states and school districts. I'm proposing creating a nationwide voucher program so that parents can choose the best schools, private or public, for their sons to go. As I mentioned, I'm proposing getting rid of energy subsidies so the market can work again. So I believe that we can turn this thing around, we can unite our party, and we can bring a lot of people back into our party again. This is necessary for us to win elections if we bring ideas that improve people's lives and that make sense to people. But again, I'm going to repeat this for the 8th time. We have to free ourselves of the corporate cronies that bind us down from proposing these solutions that make sense. Why is it, ask yourself, that we've been unable to balance our budget for 30 years? We've known about this problem.
Thank you, Mr. Rubens. Mr. Smith, your question. What do you think are the most important qualities for a Supreme Court justice? And do you believe these qualities are present in our current judges?
Support and respect the Constitution was a good start. You better have. You've got some that don't do that. If you want me to start naming judges, I'm willing to do that. Justice Clarence Thomas, I think, is one of the best. Scalia, Roberts, until he screwed up on the Obamacare decision, was proven Republicans and all aren't always right. The most important thing in justice is that he or she respect the Constitution of the United States. You cannot put your personal views above the Constitution. And I voted against a lot of them. I was one of 3 to vote against Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And I'm pretty darn proud of that vote, too. And I'll tell you why. She's the one that provides the African nation to go somewhere else to look at a Constitution, don't study ours, it's not good enough. So I'm glad I voted that way. And I would have voted against Souter if I had the opportunity. So anyway, look, it's going to be a huge issue for the senators, whoever they may be, in the next few years, because there are going to be a whole bunch of Supreme Court nominees coming. And these people stick around for 30, 40, 50 years, not just one term. So you better think carefully about who you put on the court, who you put in the Senate, who's going to nominate or support the nomination on that Supreme Court. Be careful, because it's a big decision.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Next question is for Mr. Brown. Mr. Brown, would you support a change in the Second Amendment? Why or why not?
Thank you very much. No, I don't support any changes. Right now we have, as you know, plenty of laws in the books. I'm not going down there to propose any new legislation. I am a trained person with almost every firearm I've ever touched. I've been in the military for 35 years, signing on the dotted line to defend and protect our country. The ability for us to adhere to the tenets of our Constitution, to the right to carry and bear arms as a gun owner and a licensed owner, the ability to do that is something that's important to me and everybody probably in this room, in this state, and in our country. Senator Sheen has made every attempt to take away your rights and liberties on this and many other issues. Her door is not open. My door is always open. And if, in fact, there is legislation that's going down and being proposed, I will hold, as I said, forums just like this. No offense, I don't know it all, especially on issues affecting the Second Amendment and some of the nuances that are very specific to the right to carry firearms. And I would rely and expect that people who have those strong thoughts and beliefs like I do would be there to give me that guidance. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Mr. Rubin, question for you. Do you support the role of the IRS in policing Obamacare?
No, I don't. Not at all. It's important, however, to point out that Scott Brown, you've been claiming about A- from the IRA. That's simply false. Very
Once again, Mr. Rubin, we'd like to remind you that we put this rule beforehand, that we didn't want this exchange, so please stay focused on the question.
It's important that people be accurate with respect to their records because we are judged. And I ask you, voters, judge us on the basis of the records, how we have voted in the past. And you can examine our voting records. All of us have voting records. All of us have position statements. And you can look at those and you can see if we're consistent or not. And it's important to do that. The IRS, no. The IRS should not. First of all, we need to repeal and replace Obamacare. This is a big question. Again, I send you to my website, MrRubens.com. We're not going to be able to repeal Obamacare and its takeover of 1/6 of the American economy unless we can bring to the American people solutions to health care. Our health care costs are twice what they are per capita in the rest of the industrial world. Our outcomes, our health status is on average in the industrial world, and access, even with Obamacare, 20 to 30 million people after 10 years won't have insurance. So we need to fix the problem with solutions that are premised upon individual liberty, freedom for marketplace, freedom in the marketplace for insurance carriers, to provide products that people want to buy, including young people, without being compelled to buy those things. So yes, we need to strike Obamacare, replace it with something that makes more sense and that solves problems. I don't have time to go into it, but I'll give a couple of examples of things we can do. We need to deal with the pre-existing condition problem. I'll stop there. It's on the slide.
Thank you, Mr. Rubin. The last question for this series will go to Mr. Smith. Should Congress abide by the laws enacted for the general populace?
It might be a little different if they did. So one of the ways they might do it is all those people that love Obamacare so much, they should be able to have it. The rest of them should be able to opt out.
Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Crop TV.